The frost on my leather boots glittered under the streetlights, a faint reminder that even Austin, Texas could feel winter's bite on Christmas Eve 2019. I stood outside my aunt's sprawling suburban ranch house in Westlake Hills, the kind of place where every lawn screamed old money and quiet power. The string lights draped across the eaves blinked in rhythm, indifferent to the storm brewing inside me. My name is Taylor Prescott, and at 32, I'm the founder and CEO of Sunstrike Solutions, a renewable energy consulting firm that's rewriting the rules of power across the Southwest. But to my family, I'm still the reckless dreamer who threw away a real job to chase a fantasy. 6 years ago, I walked away from a cushy analyst role at Harper & Stone, a fossil fuel giant, where ambition went to die in cubicles. My family never let me forget it. Last Christmas, over Aunt Linda's famous pecan-crusted ham, my cousin Megan, fresh off her Wharton MBA, had smirked and asked, "Still freelancing, Taylor?" Her tone dripped with pity, as if my life were a patchwork of gig apps and ramen. My mother, Diane, chimed in, ever helpful, "Your Uncle Richard knows someone at ExxonMobil hiring for clerical work." She didn't know ExxonMobil had wired my firm $4.2 million that year to streamline their solar grid in West Texas. I shifted my weight, the cold seeping through my wool coat. My uncle, Richard Prescott, was the family's golden son. He'd spent 30 years climbing the ranks at Prescott Energy Group, the oil and gas empire his father, my grandfather, built from a single rig in the Permian Basin. Richard was now president, a title he wore like a crown. His brother, my father James, had never matched that success. Dad bounced between mid-level roles at smaller firms, his resentment toward Richard a quiet poison that seeped into every family gathering. Success is loyalty, Richard loved to preach, nodding at Megan, whose textbook career, business school, oil industry job, relentless networking, was his idea of perfection. I chose a different path. Double majoring in environmental science and economics at UT Austin, I spent 4 years at Harper & Stone, watching colleagues play office politics while I built something real. My first solo client was a scrappy solar startup in Lubbock. Within 6 months, they'd tripled their output. When I resigned to launch Sunstrike, my mother sobbed, "You're throwing away your future." She didn't see I was building one. Sunstrike grew quietly, strategically. My name stayed off the headlines, replaced by results and influence. My family thought I was still renting a desk at some co-working space downtown, scraping by on small contracts. They didn't know my headquarters spanned the top 4 floors of Austin's sleekest high-rise, overlooking Lady Bird Lake. No one ever visited, so the illusion held. Tonight, that illusion would shatter. My family had spent all year bragging about a golden deal, a merger with Horizon Energy, a mysterious firm they believed would save Prescott Energy from its crumbling market share. They didn't know Horizon was my creation, a shell company I'd engineered to bait them into a trap. Tonight, I'd reveal the truth. The deal they worshipped was mine, and so was their future. I took a deep breath, the air sharp in my lungs, and rang the doorbell. Aunt Linda opened the door, her face brightening before settling into that familiar crease of concern. "Taylor, honey, we weren't sure you'd come." She pulled me into a quick hug, her perfume heavy with jasmine. Then she whispered, "Your uncle's here with some investors. Maybe don't mention your little business tonight." Inside, the house hummed with Christmas warmth. String lights cast a golden glow over mahogany furniture, and the scent of mulled wine mingled with catered hors d'oeuvres. Oil executives in tailored suits mingled with family, their laughter loud and performative. Megan held court by the fireplace, her engagement ring, a gaudy diamond from her fiancé, Ethan, a rising star at Prescott Energy, flashing with every gesture. Ethan hovered nearby, basking in the praise of older board members. "Taylor." Uncle Richard's voice boomed from the bar, already slurred with bourbon. "Come meet Tom Bradley from Apex Dynamics. They're hiring data analysts." I bit back a laugh. Apex was one of my clients. My team was finalizing their $150 million pivot to wind energy. But to Richard, I was just another Prescott who'd never measure up. Before I could respond, Richard swept in, all charisma and arrogance, trailed by 2 board members in pinstripes. "This merger with Horizon Energy is killing me," he said, loud enough for half the room to hear. "If we could just get a meeting with Sunstrike Solutions, we'd seal it." A board member nodded. "Their CEO's a ghost. Won't take calls." I sipped my cider, hiding a smirk. They didn't know the CEO was standing right there, holding a glass of spiced apple. "Not yet," Richard growled. "But they'll meet us eventually. We're Prescott Energy, for God's sake." I couldn't resist. Maybe they're not impressed by the name anymore. The room froze. Richard's drink paused midair. My mother's eyes widened. My father's jaw tightened. "Taylor," Dad said sharply, but I pressed on. "From what I hear, Prescott's market share is tanking. This merger isn't growth. It's a Hail Mary." The words landed like a grenade. Years of being dismissed, of being the afterthought at every holiday, had boiled over. Richard's face turned scarlet. "How dare you? What do you know about our business?" Dad grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the kitchen. "Have you lost your mind?" he hissed once we were alone. "You embarrassed me in front of Richard and his board." "I was just—" "You're always reckless," he snapped. "With your little consulting hobby, acting like you understand real business." The door creaked open. Megan leaned against the frame, Ethan behind her. "Maybe she should leave," Megan said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "We don't want to stress Uncle Richard. The merger's more important than her feelings." Dad didn't hesitate. "She's right. Get out. We don't need some low-rent consultant spreading rumors." I looked at them, Dad's disappointment, Megan's smug grin, Mom's silence. 5 years of hiding my empire, all for this. "Fine," I said, grabbing my coat. "But remember this moment. Tomorrow's going to be a wake-up call." "Ethan?" scoffed. "What could you possibly do?" I smiled, thinking of the merger documents on my desk, signed by T.L. Phoenix, CEO of Sunstrike Solutions. "Merry Christmas," I said, stepping into the moonlit cold. Chapter 2. The Empire. I built. Christmas morning dawned crisp and quiet, the Austin skyline a silhouette against a pale pink sky. I arrived at Sunstrike's headquarters before sunrise, the glass tower gleaming like a blade. The lobby was silent, save for the soft hum of the security system. "Good morning, Ms. Phoenix," said Anna, my executive assistant, handing me an espresso as I stepped off the elevator. Only 3 people knew Taylor Prescott and T.L. Phoenix were the same person. Today, that secret would break wide open. The Prescott Energy delegation was scheduled for 10 a.m. Anna stepped into my office, tablet in hand. "Your uncle's called 5 times trying to move the meeting earlier." I smiled, settling into my chair. The office was designed to command awe, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city, original sculptures by Texas artists, and my desk, a slab of reclaimed mesquite, a nod to roots and resilience. This was my world, not Aunt Linda's kitchen, or Richard's boardroom. Here, no one doubted my authority. "How many are coming?" I asked, flipping through the Horizon Energy merger files. 8, Anna replied. "Richard Prescott, 4 board members, their interim CEO, your father, Megan, and Ethan." Of course. Megan had just been named head of strategic partnerships, a bloated title Richard handed her for loyalty, not skill. I inhaled deeply, Dad's words from last night echoing, "You're always reckless." Anna caught my expression and nodded, understanding. "Call Greg at Horizon Energy," I said. "Tell him to be ready." Greg ran my shell company, a meticulously crafted facade to lure Prescott Energy into overextending. He knew his role today. At 9:45, Anna's voice crackled through the intercom. They're here early, as expected. Let them wait 15 minutes. In that quiet pause, I steadied myself. No more masks. No more shrinking to fit their expectations. At 10 south, I saw their silhouettes through the frosted glass. Richard pacing, Dad stern, Megan whispering to Ethan. I adjusted my blazer, touched up my lipstick, and opened the door. Silence. Richard stood. Excuse me, where's TL Phoenix? We're here to meet Sunstrike's CEO. I walked to the head of the table. You are TL Phoenix, Taylor Prescott, CEO of Sunstrike Solutions. Faces paled. This can't be, Dad muttered. She's bluffing, Megan snapped. Sit down, I said coolly. And they did. Anna, distribute the merger packages. As the folders hit the table, I watched their worlds crack. Inside were forensic analyses of Prescott Energy's finances, market failures, and my terms for the merger. As you'll see, I began, Prescott's position is weaker than you realize. Your modernization stalled. You've burned through reserves. I clicked a remote, and charts flared across the room's screens. Your market share is down 45% in 3 years. Without this merger, you're 6 months from bankruptcy. In a small village, a cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun. Richard's face darkened to a bruised purple. How dare you? These figures are confidential. Nothing's confidential to me, I said. Sunstrike's been tracking Prescott Energy for years, and we own chunks of your debt through holding companies you never traced. I paused, letting the next bomb drop. Horizon Energy? That's my shell company. I built it to force this moment. Ethan laughed, a nervous bark. That's impossible. Horizon's global. It is, I said. And it's mine. Every missed deadline, every contract clause. You were playing against me. Dad finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Why, Taylor? I met his eyes. Because no one at this table believed I belonged. Last night you threw me out for speaking truth. Today, you'll listen. I clicked the remote again. Charts shifted to action items. This merger happens on my terms. First, the board resigns. This is insanity. Richard slammed the table. Then Prescott Energy collapses, I said. Your call. The room erupted. Richard's shouts, Megan's tears, the board's frantic whispers. Dad stared, seeing me for the first time. Silence eventually settled. What are your terms? Richard asked, defeated. Restructuring, new leadership, no nepotism. Megan and Ethan removed, all roles based on merit. You can't, Megan sobbed. Dad, stop her. But Dad didn't. He couldn't. As they signed the agreements, he stayed seated, eyes heavy with regret. Taylor, he started. You should go, I said. Anna will show you out. He paused. I was wrong about you. Yes, I said. You were. Chapter 3. The reckoning after they left, I stood at the window, the Austin skyline glowing as dusk settled. Anna handed me a glass of champagne. Congratulations, she said softly. Though I suspect this isn't the end. She was right. This was the first step, not the finish line. My family knew who I was now, but they didn't grasp what I could do next. Tomorrow, headlines would scream, restructuring would begin, and the media would feast. Tonight, I allowed myself one moment of triumph. The woman they banished from Christmas dinner now held Prescott Energy's fate. The weeks that followed were chaos. My dual identity as TL Phoenix broke across business media. Mystery CEO unmasked, Taylor Prescott's billion-dollar gambit. Every outlet wanted an interview. I declined most, letting the story grow mythic. My phone buzzed constantly. Megan's. Venomous texts. Richard's legal threats. Dad's silence. I ignored them all. Prescott Energy's transition was brutal. Richard resigned, his lawsuits crushed by evidence of mismanagement. Dad retired early, unable to face reporting to me. Megan and Ethan's social media rants backfired when journalists exposed their role in Prescott's decline. The company's valuation stabilized, then climbed under my appointed leadership. One morning, Anna stepped in, hesitant. "Your mother's downstairs. She wants to see you." I froze. Mom hadn't reached out since the takeover. "Send her up." She entered, looking small against the glass and steel of my office. "Taylor," she whispered, twisting her hands. "This is impressive." "What do you want, Mom?" She sank into a chair. "Your father's not well. The stress, it's broken him. Megan's engagement's off. Ethan left her. The family's falling apart." "That's unfortunate," I said, voice steady. "But business isn't sentiment. Prescott Energy's recovering." "I'm not here about the company," she said. "I'm here to understand. You built this, and we thought you were struggling." "Why didn't you tell us?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Tell you? When I landed my first million, you were toasting Megan's promotion. When I bought my first firm, you told me to apply for secretarial jobs. We were trying to help. You were trying to cage me." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "We were wrong. Can't we fix this?" "Prescott Energy will be fixed," I said. "The family? That's not my priority. Anna will show you out." As she left, I heard my grandmother's voice, a memory from before she passed. "Success isn't proving them wrong, Taylor. It's proving yourself right." I had. 6 months. Later, Prescott Energy's valuation had doubled. Family messages poured in, some furious, others groveling. I answered none until one stood out. Sophie Prescott, Richard's youngest daughter, the only one who'd never mocked me. "I don't want anything," her text read. "Just wanted to say, you inspired me. Watching you take control gave me courage. I'm starting my own company." For the first time in months, I smiled at a family message. "Anna," I called, "schedule lunch with Sophie Prescott and dig into her startup." Anna raised an eyebrow. "As family?" "No," I said. "As an investor. I'm interested in real potential." Epilogue. The twist a year later, Sunstrike. Solutions was a household name, its logo synonymous with innovation. Prescott Energy thrived under new leadership, but the Prescott family remained fractured. I didn't care. My empire was my legacy. Then, one evening, Anna handed me a folder, marked confidential. "You'll want to see this," she said. Inside was a report on Sophie's startup, a renewable energy tech firm with a prototype that could disrupt the grid. But buried in the financials was a name, James Prescott, my father, listed as an early investor. He'd funneled his retirement savings into Sophie's dream, quietly betting on the next generation. I leaned back, the city lights sprawling below. Dad hadn't reached out, hadn't apologized. But this was his olive branch, his way of acknowledging what I'd built. I closed the folder and smiled. The game wasn't over, it was just beginning. "Merry Christmas," I thought, raising a glass to the skyline. The empire I'd built was only the start.